Hi, I'm Stan and I'm not re-recording this because it's my 100th attempt already, and I'm an online coach and personal trainer, and today I'm answering the internet's most frequently asked questions about health and fitness. So let's get into it. It completely depends on your schedule, on your availability, on your training history. I would suggest for most people 3 times a week minimum of strength training is absolutely fine. If you want to do 4 or 5, that's great if you can fit it in and you can recover from it. No longer than an hour. 40 minutes to 60 minutes of effective training is all you actually need for training. Where I slapped myself in the face when I was getting annoyed is made a red mark. I would always say weight training first. If you want to lose fat or build muscle, weight training is the best thing. Think of it as your meat and potatoes. Add your cardio in on the side, but the base should always be weight training. You're not going to. You are going to stay motivated. You should build up habits over time that make it so that it's like brushing your teeth. Otherwise, if you're relying on sole motivation, most of the time, I don't actually want to train and I actually enjoy it. But if you don't enjoy it, you probably will never train. So you've got to make it a lifestyle. And I know that's probably a very cliche answer, but it's true. The best way to lose fat is the way that you can do it for the longest. If you sprint at it, you're probably going to burn out. So if you can make sure that you do something that's consistent and then you can last a long time over a period of 6 months, 12 months, you probably lose more fat than if you did it for 6 weeks and then burn out and then went back again. But if you want the best method, personally, with all my clients and myself, walk over 10,000 steps a day, strength train 3 times a week, make sure you eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and stay in a calorie deficit. Keep your protein high, that's number one. You've got to keep your protein high when you're in a calorie deficit, otherwise you do risk muscle wastage. And strength training. If you're just running cardio all the time, or you're doing running, or you're not doing any strength training, you do risk some muscle loss when you are losing body weight. So make sure you strength train and eat enough protein. Because it actually doesn't matter how much you exercise to lose fat. I know that seems like the controversial thing to say, but it isn't. If you're just relying solely on exercise to lose weight, you're going to be very disappointed, because I could go to the gym and do a HIIT class and burn 800 calories. I could then easily eat that 800 calories in 5 seconds. So if you're exercising and not focusing on your nutrition or what you do outside the gym, most importantly, if you're in the gym for 40 minutes a day and you're sat on your arse for the rest of the day, I hate to tell you, you're not going to lose weight. So you need to make sure you're moving. The moving around that you do is 60% of all your calories you're going to burn. Then you've got to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit, and then you focus on the training element. But if you're just solely focusing on training, you're going to be very disappointed with your weight loss. As you've probably seen on the internet, it is around 70 to 80%. Now, if you want to build muscle, you obviously need to go to the gym. The diet's not going to take care of that. But you can lose weight, just pure weight, walking every day and eating in a calorie deficit, focusing on your diet. But if you want to do the holy grail of build a little bit of muscle and lose body fat, you need to be strength training as well. And it is true, you can't out-train a bad diet. So if you are going to the gym, burning 500 calories, but then you easily eat 700 calories, 800 calories for your breakfast alone, you are going to struggle. Walking is the single best exercise you can do. You can do it every single day because it's the easiest and most convenient for most people. But most people are just too lazy to put a coat on, put a woolly hat on, and go out for a walk when it's cold. But walking is the most effective exercise you can do for fat loss. It's the way that I tell most of my clients to do it as well. If you're walking 15,000 steps a day, you're going to struggle to out-eat it, I promise you. Unless you are just eating all fast food and all junk food, I promise it will be very hard to not lose weight doing that much movement. A long time. I've been training now for consistently weight training in the gym since I was 17, 18. So I'm 28 now. And if you can tell, I don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It takes a long time and most people aren't willing to put it in. I always say it, listen, cardio is hard obviously, but people get an obvious benefit from cardio. You can see, oh, I go out for a run and I'm getting fitter. Muscle building takes a lot longer. And you have to be willing to just go in every day and not expect immediate results. You have to be patient. So it is going to take a while. And when I say in the last 10 years, I would say only in the last 4 to 5 years that I've really got a handle on what the most effective way of building muscle is. If you have someone like me, shameless little plug, that has been and done it, you can save yourself a lot of time. And that leads into the sets and reps. So in honesty, reps, and this took me a while to figure out, I've done 20 rep sets, 100 rep sets. It actually doesn't matter about your reps. The most important thing is the intensity. So the most important thing is you're taking your body and your muscles to failure, or at least close to. If you're doing 20 reps, and which is normally lighter weight, and you're failing at 20, you will see some results, okay? But you're going to acquire a bit more fatigue, and that's where you get the DOMs, and that's where you won't recover as well. Whereas if you're doing heavier weight with less reps, let's say 5 to 8, yes, you've got to make it heavier, but if you're failing around 5, you aren't going to require the same fatigue on your body. So I would suggest anywhere from 5 to 8 reps, maybe even 10, to be the most effective for building muscle. Now with sets, how I like to do with all my clients and myself, people get it wrong. People do 3 sets of 10, and they might, let's say you're on a bench press and you do 60, 60, 60 all for 10. Well, you've gone too light. If you're using the same weight on the first set as you do the last set, then you've just gone through the motions. Whereas if you build up to a top set, or maybe 2 top sets, that's the best way to do it. You might see in some of my programs, I do 1 set of 10. That doesn't mean I just walk, or 1 set of 8. That doesn't mean I just walk in the gym and do 1 random set. I've built the weight up over the sets, and I hope that makes sense. It's a bit of both. Now, it depends on your age, your training history, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, you want to save your joints a little bit. If you're over your 40s and maybe going into 50s, blasting heavy weights all the time isn't going to be the most effective way to do it. So you can do things like tempo, you can do isometric holds, slow it down, do 3 seconds, so it makes the light weights feel heavier. But if you're relying on 3 sets of 12, which is what most people do, to build a load of muscle, you're probably going to be disappointed with the result. I would say it's all about intensity, so it doesn't have to be heavy, but you have to make the set get close to failure by the end, which tends to be using heavier weights. You can do body weight stuff. If you see all the calisthenic people online, you'll see that people have got great physiques, and gymnasts are great using the body weight. But the thing is, that's going to take a lot longer. You've got to get good at pull-ups, push-ups, and then you've got to end up doing quite a lot of them to get the same result as going into the gym and lifting weights. Let's say you start and 50 push-ups is really difficult. Eventually that same effort is going to be 100 to get the same result. Then it might have to be 200. Whereas you can go in the gym and it's very easy to progressively overload your body. You still need progressive overload to build muscle. So with the push-ups, you might have to add bands, you might have to add a weight to your back, or you might just have to do simply more reps over time. I like to train it at least twice a week. Frequency is going to be one of the best things for you when you're trying to build muscle. If you go in the gym and do chest and shoulders once a week, you're obviously training once, and then you're not getting that same effect on your muscle again until the next week. So I like to spread it out over twice. If you do 3 times a week in the gym, you can do full body 3 times a week. So you could hit your chest 3 times across the week. As long as you're recovering enough, that is the main thing. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, or I like to have 1.2. Protein is going to increase your metabolism, so if you're in a fat loss phase, this is where it's best to have more protein. People often get that wrong. Aim for 1 gram, and you'll be absolutely fine. Something easily digestible, protein and carbs. Before a workout, I don't like to feel too heavy. If you're training in the morning, I like something like an apple and a scoop of protein, or 2 scoops of protein. And then if it's after a workout, once again, something easily digestible, rice and meat, rice and chicken, protein shake and a banana. The only thing you want to do after your workout is maybe not have fats in your diet, because that slows the absorption down of protein and carbs. No, they aren't necessary. Most people don't even get the basics right. They don't sleep, they don't eat properly, they don't drink enough water, they don't have enough protein. So unless you're doing that, you don't need to add any extra supplements in terms of like all your tablets. But the things that I would say you need, whey protein. If you're not getting enough protein in, it's an easy way to supplement your protein intake and get more protein in. 2 scoops a day could easily add 50 grams of protein to your diet. Creatine, once again, really good for everyone, but especially women. It's been shown in recent studies. Really, really good for muscle growth, for cognitive function, and just performance in the gym. Everything aside from that, you've got your omega-3s, your vitamin D. You can get it all from your diet if you've got a wide range diet, but it's not going to harm you to put it in. But a lot of the time, you're just wasting your money if you're not getting the basics right. Best foods for muscle growth. Well, if you want to build a bit more muscle and you don't need to bulk, but you want to be in a slight surplus or maintenance, you might have to eat some more calories. So you want to pack out your food a little bit more. So it might be a bit different to a fat loss diet where you're trying to eat more food for less calories. So you might switch from a chicken breast to a chicken thigh, because that's more calories per gram. You might switch to 10% minced beef instead of 5%. You might switch to full fat Greek yogurt rather than 0%. But ultimately, the foods don't change. It's just your portions. I would literally say my diet's probably 15 different foods. You've got your red meats, you've got your chicken, your fish, prawns, Greek yogurt, eggs, rice, potatoes, oats, you've got your whey proteins, and then your fats, whatever you want to have. Cheese, maybe some avocado, peanut butter. Then you can add in veg if you really like veg. And then you've got your fruits. Fat loss diet, I would go for 40% protein. It's going to increase your metabolism, and then you can do whatever you want with the other. If you prefer low carb, 15 to 20% carbs, I would still say have carbs around your workouts, and then you can do the rest fats, or ideally 40%, 30, 30. If you're going for a muscle building, it might be hard to, or say you want a slight bulk, it might be quite hard to actually eat that much protein. So maybe you go 40 or 50% from your carbs and then 30% from your protein and then 20% from your fats. But fats are really important for hormones and for brain function, so I wouldn't really go any less than minimum 50 grams of fat per day. That's as a guy my size. Lift weights and progressively do it over and over and over again, over time, over months, over years, and you will get stronger. People discount, they try and jump up 5 to 10 kg per session. Add 1 kg a week and you will get stronger. You do that over 2 months and you've now added 8 kg to a lift. Whereas if you're constantly trying to jump up 5 to 10 kg, it's likely that you'll just fail and then you'll get stuck where you're at and you won't see any progress. Put the fork down. That's the main way. Stop eating. But if you want to build more visible abs, probably need to do some compound lifts, deadlift, squats, overhead press, single arm movements, single arm pressing. You can do your rotation movements, your planks. That'll all build bigger, more visible abs. So maybe you have higher body fat and you can still start seeing your abs. But the best exercise is the put your fork down exercise and stop putting it in your mouth, you greedy bugger. No, people change it way too much. You actually need to see progress. Now you can change certain movements, that's not a problem. You could maybe change like bench press to an incline press, or you could do an overhead press to a machine shoulder press. But ultimately, if you're switching all the time, you're never actually going to see progress. I would stick with something out for 8 weeks at least, and then maybe you can change up a few little movements, but you want to actually see progress. The main thing is, maybe change the reps up a little bit, maybe change what your focus is of the workout. Maybe you're going for more strength in that weighted pull-up. Those are the things that change, but you shouldn't really be changing your exercises too much. Like your food, probably 15 really good strength training exercises. You can. I like to do something every day, whether that's just walk on a treadmill. It doesn't mean that every single day I train really, really hard. It might be one day is just a little bit of resistance band recovery and walking on a treadmill. But I like to train most days, but that means that you can't do loads of reps and volume every single day. Otherwise, you're going to wake up feeling like the Tin Man. You're going to have to bring the volume down. If you're trying to destroy yourself, you're going to quickly burn out. Ideally, minimum 3 days a week. I like to do it 6 times a week, to be honest. Like I said, middle of the week might be a walk, a recovery, something like that. It doesn't always have to be strength training all the time. Depending on your injuries, deadlifts. That doesn't have to be with a straight bar, trap bar, Romanian deadlift. Squats, that could be a goblet squat, split squat, front squat. It doesn't have to be a back squat. A pushing movement of sorts, so you could do it with push-ups. Everyone should be able to do push-ups. Before you jump on a bench press, you should be able to do push-ups. Pull-ups. You want to be able to pull yourself up out of burning building, don't you? That's my main thing. I always imagine myself on the edge of a cliff and think, can I pull myself up? You got to be able to do pull-ups.
You always think of that?
Yeah, I always think of that. Like if I'm not, what? Like if I'm really struggling on my last, let's say I'm trying to get 20 pull-ups, I always think like, this one's to get me up off a cliff. That motivates me. Death motivates me. And overall fitness, maybe you don't want to run. So I know I was talking about strength training, but obviously cardio is important. So you've got your uphill walking, you've got your running. If you don't want to run, I prefer rowing, sprints. You can do longer runs or stuff like the air bike, which is, the devil made that machine, but it's still really good for you. So all those types of things, but ultimately it's doing something you can enjoy and repeat it. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, make sure you like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff that YouTube makes you do. If you have any more questions, drop them below, and I might make another video and answer them.